Hey there friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie and you're watching AKA Mommy. If you're brand new to my channel, then welcome. I hope that you will enjoy just kind of hearing my thoughts during this video. And if you are a returning subscriber, thanks so much for coming back and opening this video. Alright you guys, so I have debated on whether or not I wanted to actually share anything on this particular topic for weeks now. And to be honest, I do have a lot of opinions. I do have a lot of feelings about the current situation that we have going on, that we are all currently living through. And I really wasn't sure how to share my opinions and do so in a way that wasn't going to be offensive to anyone, because to be honest, no matter what my opinion is, no matter what my stance is on this current situation, someone is going to disagree with me. So I am still kind of unsure as far as how much I want to share about my actual opinions, because let's be honest, opinions are very personal. They're very personally based, and everyone has different opinions. But I do know that I can share with you just kind of some updates on how my family is doing during this unusual time. And I am happy to share with you my feelings, which I feel like even if you disagree with, they're my feelings and I can't deny my feelings. So I just wanted to put out a video in case it would help anyone to maybe process how you're feeling during this time. So just as a little frame of reference, I'm filming this video toward the end of May 2020. We are currently in week 10 or 11, probably 11 of, we're no longer under a stay-at-home order, but things are just weird. I don't really know what you want to even call it. So the current situation, things, let's just put it this way. All of our lives changed permanently and forever about 11-ish weeks ago. Excuse me if you can hear my children screaming in the background. They actually are playing, but if you have kids, you'll know that's just sometimes how it goes. So how are we doing? We are, as a family, doing pretty well. We have all stayed healthy through this time, praise God. We haven't had any even really major, no one has even had a cold. I thought for a little while last weekend that I might be coming down with a cold. It really just passed. I think that we had some pollen or something that blew through one day, made my throat really scratchy, and I'll be honest, I was like, oh my gosh, I have it. But it passed immediately. Like the very next day I was feeling fine. We've all been doing pretty well. We are not unused to being a family that stays home a lot. That kind of tends to be the life that we live anyway. And so being at home an unusually large amount of our time is not something we are completely, not something that's completely foreign to us, but I will say it has tested our patience and our tolerance of one another greatly. And I think that I can say that for each of the members in my family. If you live with, anyone, if there's more than one person in your home, I think you can probably relate to that. We are together almost 24/7 at this point. My husband is still going to work. He has continued to work throughout this entire situation, and we are very grateful for that. He technically is considered an essential employee, and so we've been very grateful that he has been able to continue going to work. I will say that my children, my two youngest children, who currently or did go to public school, they came home for spring break on March, I believe it was the 6th was their last day of school. March 9th was supposed to be the first day of spring break for them. And after March 6th, they never went back to school. So, and that's pretty much how everyone's, spring break slid into summer break happened. That was honestly a very hard transition for my kids emotionally, because they were okay. They thought it was not too bad at first, you know, yay, extra time to spend at home and we get to sleep in, and yes, we still have to do school, but we're doing it on the computer, which is kind of fun. And it reminded at least my son, who was in 4th grade, it reminded him quite a bit of when he was homeschooled, and he at times has really missed being homeschooled. So he kind of looked at it like, wow, this is cool. I forgot what this was like and I'm kind of enjoying it. My youngest daughter is in kindergarten, or she just finished kindergarten. And, you know, kindergarten is, it's just a whole other world of its own. I'll put it that way. And so she didn't have a whole lot of schoolwork that was being sent home, so we kind of had to get creative. Luckily, like I said, we were previously a homeschool family, so we have lots of resources here, and I am no stranger to doing school with my kids. So my youngest, her biggest concern during this point was obviously, I miss my friends. I miss seeing my friends. When can I see my friends again? And I cannot say that I blame her at all. She, of course, loved the extra time to be able to stay home with mommy, but she missed her friends. My son, he missed his friends and he missed his teacher, all of his teachers. And again, I cannot say that I blame him. I mean, that was a huge and unexpected shift from their reality to be at school, go home for spring break, and then find out multiple weeks later, oh, by the way, you're never gonna sit in that classroom with those students and that teacher again. When we had to break the news of that to my son, he cried, to be honest with you, because it was devastating to him. And I like I said, I never had to live through anything like that. And so I can't imagine, I can only imagine what that must have felt like to him, but we have done the best we can during this during this transition. And so my kids were very disappointed when they realized that they were not going to get to see their friends until after the summer, if even then. And we've just been kind of dealing with that the best that we can. My second to oldest daughter was a sophomore this year, and kind of the same thing happened with her. We were going to homeschool co-op. She is homeschooled as well as our oldest daughter. And she was going to homeschool co-op as normal, doing her school during the week. We would go on Fridays, and then all of a sudden it was just done. There was not really an opportunity to go like one last time to see her friends and to say goodbye and anything like that. I think that's been the hardest part for my kids. And I mean, if I'm being honest, I think we've all kind of struggled with that a little bit. And I've tried to be as understanding of that as I possibly can. But it has been difficult. So her year was cut pretty short. The biggest change in her schooling was simply that she was no longer going to go to homeschool co-op. She was still doing all of her classes at home, and she finished out her year. So she is now technically considered a junior. So our oldest daughter, obviously, this time has been the hardest for her because she is a senior this year. And so my heart goes out to any senior who is having to live through this. At first, it didn't really occur to me. It seemed like, oh, it's not a big deal, you know, whatever. But the more time passed, the more we realized just everything that she was going to be missing out on. Now, I will say that her situation is different because she does not go to public school. She has been a homeschool / dual credit college student for the past 2 years. And so she actually was taking this last semester off of college courses, and she was just doing school at home. So she just kind of continued along with that. But, you know, her high school graduation, which, yes, if you're homeschooled, you still do get to have a graduation ceremony. It has been pushed an entire month. We are still going to get to have it, but for a little while we really weren't even sure about that. Her prom was pushed out by, I think, let's see, April, May, June, July, by 4 months. Her prom was supposed to be in April. It will now be in July. And thankfully, she will still get to participate in that. We're hoping. At this point, nothing is set in stone. I think we've all learned that from this situation. She is not going to get to go to church camp this summer. All of those have been canceled, and she was really, really broken about that because it was going to be her last year ever to get to go to church camp as a participant. And so that's been really hard for her. My oldest girls, because they're homeschooled, a huge part of their social life, or pretty much all of their social life, comes from participating in the youth programs at our church, which has not happened at all. So they haven't seen their friends, and so they're struggling with that a bit. So it's just been hard. It's just been really hard on all of us. Let's be honest. It's just been a change, but we are trying to focus on the positive. We are trying not to focus too much on the negative. We are trying to focus on the fact that we get extra time to spend together, making memories together. Like I said, my oldest daughter is about to turn 18 and she is graduating from high school, and she is shipping out to the United States Coast Guard, and she will no longer live with us. And so we are trying to take this time to really spend with her and just enjoy making memories as a family the best that we can. So that's kind of a recap on how my kids are doing. My husband is, like I said, still going to work. That never changed. And to be really honest, he is a huge homebody anyway, so his life, in complete honesty, didn't change all that much. He doesn't, he doesn't go to the gym, he doesn't go to stores, and he doesn't do things like that. So his life didn't change all that much. I will say he does participate in extracurricular activities, like bowling. He's on a bowling league, and and I know that might not seem like a big deal. If you're brand new to my channel, it's a very big deal. He used to be a professional bowler, so that's kind of like his outlet. It's his grown-up hobby. That got nixed, and so he hasn't been able to do it in a long time. He really misses doing that, but that was the biggest thing that he kind of lost during this time. And obviously sports. They took all the sports off TV, and that has been really hard for him as well. But we have, just enjoyed spending a little more time together. We've watched movies as a family. We've spent a ridiculous amount of money renting movies and buying movies, and we've just spent time together. That's pretty much it. So that is an update on my husband. And so to update you guys on myself, now that I am several very long minutes into this video, I'm doing okay, in all honesty. Probably, let's see, how many weeks did I say we are into this? 11, 12, I don't even remember. I was probably pretty good up until about week 8. And then I started noticing some signs of depression, and not as much anxiety, but more depression. So I just wanted to touch on that and let you guys know I am a huge homebody. I enjoy being at home. Being in large groups of people is fine, but it's not something that I crave, and it's not something that energizes me. I'm actually more of an introvert. I prefer to be alone or with my family. I enjoy being with groups of people, but I can usually only handle it for a short amount of time, and I am not a physical touch kind of person. So I don't hug a lot of people. I just don't really, that's not one of my love languages. It's not something that I really need. I don't crave physical touch. And so I know a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, I just miss being around people, and I'm gonna hug everybody when I see them. And I'm like, don't hug me. Don't touch me. And it had nothing to do with the virus. It was more of I'm just not a hugger. I'm just really not. And it is, I've learned, if nothing else, now that I'm 40, I've learned to just embrace who I am and accept who I am. I'm not a hugger, you guys. I'm sorry. I do hug people. Let me just be very clear. I do hug people, but it's not something that I crave and need. So I was doing pretty good throughout all of this. I am not in school this semester. I wasn't really sure what classes to take this semester because I am finished with all of my prerequisites that are necessary to get into nursing school. And so in the hopes that I would start nursing school in the fall, I decided to take this spring semester off and just focus on really being present with my family and getting some stuff done around my house. I was going to declutter, and I was going to minimalize, and I was going to clean all the things in preparation for me having no time for anything other than nursing school for the next 2 years. Little did I know when I made that decision to not take classes this semester, that I was going to be spending a lot of time with my family. So fortunately, I have not been taking classes this semester, so I've really had a lot of time on my hands to just be at home and do all of those things that I said. I have even had a chance that I'm, very, very grateful for, to kind of start investing more time back into my channel again, because I miss it. I really do. YouTube is my grown-up hobby, and I just really didn't feel like I had a lot of time for it. So I was honestly doing pretty good until about week 8, and then it started to get a little harder for me. I started missing people. And that's not to say that I haven't seen anyone other than my family, but I haven't seen very many other people than my family. I go to the store if it's necessary to buy things for my family. I go to Sam's. I will go see my mom. I have definitely seen my mom several times throughout this time period. I haven't really seen a lot of my other family, but granted, I don't have a lot of other family. I have 2 sisters and my dad. But I mean, we really haven't seen a lot of people. So it wasn't until about 8 weeks in that I started noticing that I was beginning to miss social interaction with people. And that's when my depression kind of started to kick in a little bit. And I don't mean anything really significant. I just mean that that was the first time that I started noticing that feeling of, I really miss so-and-so. I can't wait to go and see this person. I can't wait until I can sit in a church again with my fellow Christians and just be in the same building again. That was the first time that I really started to feel a little bit down about this whole thing. And honestly, it's getting a little bit better. Some of the restrictions where I live have started to be lifted. We can, let's see, hair salons are now open. Gyms are allowed to be opened, but mine is not open just yet. Oh, come on, Planet Fitness, get with the program. I think that they will probably open pretty soon. I think the email that I got said that they're going to try to open sometime the week of June 1st. And so we're only about a week and a half away from that. So, I'm holding out hope that they will actually open, because I do miss going to the gym. And if you are someone watching this video who your opinion is that we should all continue to hunker down at home, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I'm not going to attack you for your beliefs, and I would really just ask that you not attack me for mine. I realize that I'm just a person, but I do have a pretty limited but slightly more than average education on viruses and diseases and the human body and so forth, simply because I am studying to become a nurse. If you've never taken any of those classes, then you probably don't quite understand how viruses and whatnot work. All you know is what you're told by the media. And so I'm not even going to get into a big long spiel about the media and its role in all of this, but I will say I have opinions about the way that all of this has been handled, and I can guarantee that there will be people who disagree with my opinions who watch this video, because I have very close personal friends in my real life who disagree with me, and that is 100% fine. Like I said, they're my opinions. You don't have to agree with me. It's okay. We can still be friends, and we can still love one another, and we can still continue to do what we think is best for us and our families. So I will go to the gym once they open. I am actually very much looking forward to it. The gym is a huge outlet for me. It helps me to relieve stress, and it helps me just to feel like a better version of myself when I'm working on myself, and I'm strong and I'm healthy. And so during this time at home, I have remained active. My oldest daughter, who's going into the Coast Guard, and my husband and myself have all been doing a program at home where we have started running. I've never been a runner in my life. I've always wanted to be a runner, but it's been something that I've just always struggled at. And so we decided to do this program. I decided to do it with my daughter to support her in her training before she leaves for boot camp. And I figured what better time than now. So we started that. We are on week 6 of an 8-week program, and I'm not dead yet. So it's going pretty darn well. My husband started literally the same day, or the day after we did, when he realized what we were doing, and I told him that I was really excited about it. He said, well, I'm going to do it too. So it's something the 3 of us have been doing together and loving, and I do plan on doing a video a little bit more about that, my thoughts on it. And yeah, I never thought that I would actually say I'm a runner, but you guys, on Friday I ran for 20 minutes straight, and I didn't stop, and I'm just so proud of that. And I'm not even at the end of the program yet. So I have continued to stay as active as I can. I'm running, I am lifting weights a little bit, but I won't go into all of that. I have had a chance to refocus on my diet, and when I say diet, I simply mean the foods that I'm putting into my body. I've gotten back to being much more diligent about my ketogenic lifestyle, and my body is loving it. My body is really thanking me. So that's pretty much my feelings on all of this. I'm doing really well. I mean, I think we all have days that are hard, and we all have days that are a lot better. And I will say one interesting little tidbit is that before all of this happened, I want to say this conversation that I had with my husband took place in maybe December or January. I had a talk with my husband, and I was just really struggling, and I just, shared with him that I really missed my kids being at home, and I really missed homeschooling my kids. And for anyone who's new and you're not sure what all of that is about, I do have a video that I will attempt to link in a card here for you guys. If I cannot link it, then I will definitely put it in the description box below this video. But very briefly, I'll let you know that the only reason that my 2 youngest kids now go to public school instead of continuing to be homeschooled by me is that I started school. I have had a dream of becoming a nurse for so long I can't even remember, and I just decided it was time to go for it. And I tried to do my schooling and be a homeschool mom for 1 semester, and we all survived, but it was the hardest thing that I had been through up to that point, and I did not feel like my kids got the best education that particular semester. So we did enroll them in public school, and that was a 1.5 years ago. And so I had a conversation with my husband December or January of this past, just this past December or January, and just shared my heart with him and said, I just miss my kids, and I miss having them at home, and I miss homeschooling them. I miss all of that. And we were struggling a little bit because it was just a really busy time in our lives, and I just felt like we were all in this rat race that I just wanted off. I just wanted off the wheel. And can I just be honest and say that I think humans in general were kind of starting to feel that way. Maybe there are people who didn't feel that way, but everybody that I know was just, anytime you ask someone, hey, how are you? How have you been? Their first response was always busy. Everyone was busy. And I think that we were not just busy, we were exhausted. And so I don't believe in coincidence, and I really believe that all things happen for a reason. And I'm not going to get too deep into that, but in the beginning of all of this, I actually almost looked, this is very shaky territory. I looked at the stay-at-home order as a gift. Not that the coronavirus is a gift, not that I would wish this for anyone. That is not what I'm saying. Obviously, I would not wish for anyone to be ill or to lose a loved one, but I was doing my best to see this in a positive light, and I tried my very best to see this as a gift from God to allow my family the chance to slow down and the chance to spend some more time together, especially in light of the fact that one of us is about to move out, and I'm going to get emotional, but we've just been doing our best to try to make the best of this that we can, try to see it in as positive a light as we can. And it was just kind of odd to me that in January I was talking about how much I miss my kids, and by March they were here with me full time, and I didn't do anything, so fast forward 2 months, and now I can't wait for them to go back to school. Just kidding. most of the time. So let's just be honest, it's hard. When you have 7 people who live in a house together and one of them is a 6-year-old, it can get a little bit rough sometimes, but we are doing the best that we can. So I think that pretty much covers my feelings. The only thing that I will say regarding my opinion about this situation is that anytime a new virus is discovered, you should have a little bit of fear. We should have a little bit of respect for the fact that we don't know what we're facing. I do believe that the decision to keep people at home was the safest thing. Because we didn't know what we were dealing with. This was an unknown enemy, and we had very little information about what we were facing. And in order to keep as many people as possible safe, I think that it was the smart thing to kind of just say, okay, everyone stop, go be at home, be protected, be safe, so that we can figure out what we're dealing with. I think that was the best thing to do. I think that it was the right thing to do in order for us to flatten the curve. That was their goal. The government's goal was to flatten the curve, to keep as many people alive and well as possible. And I think we did that. I think Americans banded together beautifully, and we did that, and it was very successful. Because clearly we have not had nearly the number of deaths as were originally predicted or initially forecasted. So for that, I am so incredibly grateful. However, I do also believe that what we are facing now has become a media circus, and the media has taken full advantage of this situation, and there are twists and turns, and it's really hard to know now what truth is. So I have to rely on my, like I said, very limited knowledge on virology and the human body. And at this point, I believe that we've had enough of the stay at home. I think it's time for us to stop hiding, so to speak. That's probably not even the right word. Ideally, I would love to see us continue on with our lives, and I would also like to say that for anyone who believes that they are high risk or has been told that they are high risk by their doctor, those people absolutely should have the freedom and the right to stay home and protect themselves if they believe that going out is a threat. However, if you're someone who is a healthy young individual and you do not believe yourself to be high risk, then I believe that we should be permitted to go on about our lives. Now, the only caveat to that, and I don't want to not say this because I am very aware of it, is that I'm fully aware that even though I am a healthy individual with a strong immune system, I'm a strong adult, I do understand that I can still be a carrier, and I can, potentially carry this virus to someone who maybe isn't as able to fight it off as I am. But I will say that in light of the new discoveries that have come, about this virus, they are now understanding more and more that it is not, it can't live on surfaces for long periods of time. When originally we were told, I think I saw up to 3 days on certain types of surfaces, and that just creates so much fear and panic. And it's fine if that's what they originally believed. I'm not doubting that at all. But at this point, we know that to not be the case. We also know that the primary way that this is transmitted between people is through respiratory droplets. We've known that all along. However, more information, more research has been done, more evidence has been found to point to the fact that you actually have to cough or sneeze on someone in order to pass this along. You're not going to pass it along just by breathing. And so I believe that, if I were asymptomatic, then I'm probably not going to actually transmit this virus to anyone, because if I don't have a fever, I'm not coughing, and I'm not sneezing, I'm probably not transmitting the virus, even if I'm carrying it, because if I'm not coughing on anyone and I'm not sneezing on anyone, then so honestly, I really just feel like there's a lot of information. There's so much information that, like I said in the beginning of this, it's hard to know. It's just hard to know what is the truth. It's hard to know. It's just hard to know. And so I think we all just have to do the best that we can for ourselves and for our families. And I think that we're all doing that. So I applaud each and every one of you who are just doing the best that you can for your family. So, like I said, I was very hesitant about putting up this video because, like, as with anything, if you express an opinion, and especially if you are a social media influencer, someone's always going to disagree. Someone's always going to have something to say about your opinion, and that's fine. So the only thing I would ask is that we just remain respectful of one another and understand that we all have different situations. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different lives. You know, we're all very, very different, and all of those factors play a part in how we view things and how we formulate our opinions. So that's going to be it, guys. This turned out to be a very long video. I had a feeling that it would, but I'm going to go ahead and close out the video here. I will have another video for you on my channel Wednesday of this week and Friday of this week, if all goes according to plan. I am enjoying putting out content for you, and I'm so glad to see that so many of you are enjoying seeing content from me once again. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are all doing your best to stay well, and just, you know, like I said, look for any positive note that you can find during this time, because otherwise it can be a really scary and just dark time. So we are living through something that none of us have ever experienced and none of us will ever forget. So let's make the best of it, the best that we can in a difficult situation, and let's just continue to support one another. And until next time, you guys, take care and be well. Bye-bye.